said the first thing that we're going to do while we get on this event is just take a break, right? Let's take a deep breath together. So here I go, right? Hopefully that makes you feel better. So you've been going full speed, I would guess, right? Back-to-back meetings, people relying on you, and one thing after the other. And somehow you always deliver. You hold the line, you show up, you do what needs to be done. But here's the quiet part that nobody sees. Tiredness isn't the real risk. What wears you down faster and more quietly is your clarity. That inner compass that usually guides you so well. And I've been there, and maybe you have too. That quiet moment when you realize something shifted. High stakes roles, constant pressure, and that quiet doubt. Am I still aligned with what really matters? You keep moving, but at some point, you realize you haven't looked up in a while. And you start wondering, am I still heading in the right direction? Or just trying to survive today? When the pressure never stops, you don't just feel tired. You start to feel disconnected from your role, from your purpose, sometimes even from yourself. And from the outside, everything still looks fine. You're busy, you're solid, you're competent, but inside, you know something is up. You're reacting more. You're questioning things that used to be obvious. And it's harder to find that grounded place where decisions feel aligned again. This isn't about burnout or collapse. It's about that quiet drift that happens when you don't have space to pause and check in. If you just joined, we're exploring what clarity looks like when pressure doesn't stop. And that's why we're here. Not for another model or method, just to slow down and reconnect with what really matters. Because stillness, a quiet moment, doesn't just help you feel better. It helps you lead better. It helps you hold the room even when the stakes are high. So if you felt lately like you're going fast, but you're not sure in which direction, then you're not alone. And this space is for you. So let's take this time. Not to fix, not to perform, just to breathe and reflect and recalibrate before the next wave hits. Okay, take a second. Can you sense where your compass is pointing today? You know what's tricky? When you're in motion all the time, you stop noticing how you're moving. You just keep going because that's what leaders do, right? But if you're honest, when was the last time you slowed down enough to notice your own pace? Here's the hidden cost. Constant speed narrows your field of vision. It creates a tunnel vision. The urgent takes over the important. And when you can't step back, you can't lead with clarity. You start reacting instead of choosing. I remember a time not that long ago when everything on my plate was important. People needed decisions, projects moved fast. I had to be responsive, and so I was. Probably much like you, right? Calls, emails, meetings, decisions, all day and every day. I used to joke that I was like Dr. Oscar with back-to-back calls every 30 minutes, another person or a team. Listening, guiding, encouraging, deciding, evangelizing. I could go from, my N-2 to N+4 all in the same day, always on call, always switching roles, until one day I realized I hadn't checked in with myself in a long time. And so on the surface, things looked fine, but underneath, I could feel it. I was drifting. I was delivering, yeah, but I had no idea if what and how I was delivering was still what I believed in. There was this one moment, big decision, lots of eyes on me. I gave an answer, a decent one, a strategic one, but deep down, it came from exhaustion, not from clarity. So, have you ever given an answer that sounded right, but didn't feel right? I have. Definitely have, right? And probably me too as a result. And that's when I realized it's not the workload that breaks us, it's the gap between what we're doing and what still makes sense. It's not so much about what, it's about the how. So think about this for a second. We all do emails, chats, calls, slide decks, presentations, no matter what our role is, right? It's all the same. The what is always the same, but the how, that's what makes the difference. It's what makes the difference between ending the day feeling good or completely drained. That gap grows quietly while you're busy being competent. The longer you go without checking in, the harder it is to feel where your North Star really is. So, what does it look like when someone leads with steadiness instead of pressure? Some people think composure means sitting like a monk with a calm voice, measured breathing, right? But balance isn't about being zen. It's about staying clear when things get messy, finding clarity in the chaos. I once watched a leader walk into a meeting about to explode. You probably recognize the type of scene. Voices are rising, people interrupting, and everyone is pushing their own agenda. She didn't raise her voice. She just paused, grounded herself, took one visible breath, and went like, okay, I see some tension. Let's just pause for a moment. No drama, no judgment, just calm authority. You could feel the shift in that room. People exhaled, and the room softened. you know, sometimes with just one breath, things change. And it was like the whole room exhaled at once. That is grounded leadership. It's not loud. It's what happens when you don't react immediately, when you hold the space instead of filling it. Because when things get uncertain, people don't need you to be perfect. They need you to stay calm and real. Here's a question for you. What does being grounded look like for you when everything around you starts to move faster? Because that's where real steadiness starts, in awareness, not in control. Think about that for a few seconds. Take a breath with me for a second, right? Here we go. Okay. Now, let's talk strategy. And I don't mean tools. I mean how you show up when it counts. Pressure itself isn't the problem. The real challenge is what happens inside you when it hits. When it meets clarity, you create impact. When it meets confusion, you create noise. So how do you keep clarity when things accelerate? The answer isn't control. It's in posture. In crisis, clarity isn't found in control. It's found in how you hold yourself, in how you breathe, in whether you let urgency steer or you pause and steer it. When you catch yourself gripping tighter, that's usually the sign to pause. That ability to steady yourself becomes a bridge between pressure and clarity, between fear and action, between urgency and intention. That's what makes others trust your calm. So let's look at how you can get that compass back. You don't need more tools or techniques. What you do need is space to listen. Because the real compass doesn't shout. It only shows up when things get quiet enough to hear. So take 2 minutes between meetings. Put your phone down and breathe. Feel your feet. Seriously, feel your feet right now. Not to be zen, just to be fully there. So now ask yourself these questions right now. What am I truly responsible for at this moment? What do I need to let go of, even just for the next hour? And is this really mine to carry? Leadership doesn't mean carrying everything. It means knowing what to carry well. Sometimes clarity comes not from doing more, but from doing less on purpose. You've probably heard it before. Less is more. And you know what? It usually is. Letting go of what's not yours to carry isn't weakness. It's mindful leadership. That's the quiet discipline, letting go before it all piles up. So, my question to you is, what is one thing you do differently tomorrow morning to lead from a steadier place? All right, let's wrap up. What we explored today isn't a one-time insight. It's a way of showing up when things get unclear. And before I go, the fact that you showed up today matters. Not so much to me, though I'm really glad you're here. It matters to you. You could have skipped this, but you didn't. So be proud of that. It means you care. And that's where grounded leadership begins. It has resonated, and you want to keep that compass alive day to day. I built something simple for that. I call it the Alignment and Impact Blueprint. It's not a course. It's not a sales funnel either. It's just a short, structured tool to help you realign under pressure. You'll find it on my website, or you just DM me and I'll send it right over. Whether you grab it or not, keep leading with clarity, calm, and authenticity. Take a moment before you rush back into your day. Thank you for being here. Stay clear, stay calm, and stay human.